Hello, and welcome to Surprise We Both Love Movies. This week, I have a special guest host. Julian Bass is here with me, a Tic-Tok
Hello.
fame, and we'll also be reviewing the movie In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda's newest movie from HBO Max that takes place in the city of New York, or Nueva York. In this movie, we get introduced to a character named Usnavi, and he has a local bodega in Washington Heights, New York. In this little bodega, he's kind of in his mid 20s and he's realizing, hey, you know what? I have a dream. But at the same time as this is going on, he's realizing who he is. We flash forward to the future and we see that Usnavi is explaining how he accomplished his dreams to a group of kids while he's out on the tropical beach somewhere. And then you go back and you see that he's in New York City struggling, trying to figure out what's next in his life. Where is his life going? At the same time, you meet this older gentleman played by Jimmy Smits, who runs a local taxi company, and he has a daughter, and he's put all of his hopes and dreams into his daughter because she is a very talented, very smart individual. And as we get to know the situation, what's going on, we get to meet his daughter and see that maybe everything isn't as well as it seems in her life away from New York, going to school at Stanford. And we get to kind of see what's going on in her life and why maybe everything isn't as perfect as it should be. Julian, what did you think of this movie? What did this movie mean to you? Share a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. In the Heights is like very near and dear to me. It's such an interesting scenario. I don't think there's a movie like this that I can say I've had such an interesting relationship with. I was born in New Jersey, and I remember living in the Bronx and just having just the experience. Washington Heights is like it's like right there. In all the set pieces and things, you get to see the George Washington Bridge right there. And used to cross that bridge just every day. Before I was going to school, my mom used to teach in the city, and she would take me to the schools. And I remember like I would sing this little song about going across the George Washington Bridge, and it's just
What
the image of it just never leaves my mind.
What's
Right.
the song? What's the song? I want to hear the song.
Well, so as a kid, like I would just sing the things that I was seeing.
Uh-huh.
So I'll be like, now we're going across the George Washington Bridge in Washington. I would just like add on, and my mom would be like, oh God, this is so annoying. But it was like her knowing that I'm remembering the path to get to my grandma's house or to get to Kappa 1 or Kappa 2. And like we'd hit a stoplight and I'd be like, and now we're stopped and now we're going and then we're stopping again. And I like just like keep going and rolling. And so sort of that like set that sort of flows into a great segue to sort of my experience with musicals. And so when I was in high school, started doing musicals, and that was sort of when Hamilton kind of hit, and that was Lynn's like, if you weren't in the world of theater, that was the thing that like outstretched past its bounds, and became more of a pop culture phenomenon. But In the Heights was his first Tony Award winning musical.
Mm-hmm.
It won Best Musical. And I remember seeing it performed at the Thanksgiving Day Parade and all this stuff. But I wasn't like into it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they had brought it to the Aurora Theater in Georgia, where I got to see it in person for the first time. And then I saw it in concert. I saw it again. They did like an encore performance. It was just this whole phenomenon about In the Heights. And then I saw it in concert again. It was just one of my favorite shows because it just brought back all like the sounds and the smells of the city, the piragua and all the things that like I remember from being there. It was all there. And then I was like, they're making a movie. I have to see this movie, right?
Right.
And they were and I always it's like when books get adapted to movies. There's things that's gonna be changed, there's things gonna be shortened, taken away, and everything that I wanted to be in the movie was in the movie. Another thing I'd like to say too is the musical definitely lets Sonny just be a side character.
Okay.
And in the movie, they very timely as well brought up how the situation with the Dreamers,
Right.
right, and sort of gave him gave him a reason to be there, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
It
And for
really
those who haven't watched it, Sonny is the
right,
like,
yeah,
nephew of
yeah,
and he runs a
right.
shop with him, and he's there every day, and he's like his little brother basically, and they're partners. They're in this together, and he has opportunity for something great, and he's actually going to take Sonny with him. And
Right.
go ahead, please.
Yeah. And well, Sonny's deal is that, he wants to go to school, and they're saying that he might not be allowed to go because he wasn't he's the child of an undocumented immigrant. And so there was this whole sort of story arc with him.
How
But
much
man,
like it? How much like is Washington Heights like the movie portrays it? Do you feel that same sense? Is it a little overdone? Is it underdone? Do you feel that strong sense of community and everybody knows each other and everybody's in everybody's business? Is that true? Not true? What do you think?
Yeah, it felt like the energy really feels real.
Okay.
I just remember a lot of my time. I mean, you can go to New York now. It's the same deal up there. As gentrified as it may be becoming, I just remember just like we'd have the Puerto Rican Day Parade in the area, and like summertime comes around, you hear the music, you hear the music, you hear the reggaeton, you hear all of the sounds of the city, and seeing that. To me at the time, they were just sounds, and in the movie it brings those sounds to life in a way that like I hadn't gotten to see. I didn't get to go to the parades. I didn't get to like sort of experience these things firsthand. One of the things that I noticed first was Jon Chu's influence on
the movie. He did a great job, didn't he? He did a really great job. With musicals, he's the man,
Yeah. And I think as we talk about the scaling of it being a movie and a film, I think the elements that he brought visually, like, are things that I would have never even thought to put in this, because I would have thought of it as just a stage show. I would have been like, here's your set, here's your dance numbers, do this here, there. They were dancing on side of the building. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Bro, like, and it felt natural. And that's the hardest thing to do with creating these visual, like hyper visual moments.
And I think that's what he did a great job of. Every scene was so just meticulously thought out and designed, and went perfectly with the music and the lyrics. And it was just like a collaboration, a beautiful like medley, like a rainbow of visual, audio, dancing. It all just blended perfectly together. And that's what Jon Chu was able to do. He directed Crazy Rich Asians as well. He's really good at just taking you somewhere maybe that's not familiar to you and making it feel like home. He did a great job of that.
Yeah.
I've never even been to New York, and I was like, I want to go to Washington Heights now and see if it's like this. And I've never seen Hamilton. I have not seen that movie. So this is my first introduction into Lin-Manuel Miranda's musical acumen and genius, and I was really impressed. I grew up watching musicals. My mom was a big musical, Singing in the Rain, Annie, Fame, all these movies I grew up as a kid watching because she had such a dance background. So it was like kind of a nice little reminder of my mom when I see a movie like that, because it just kind of it's in your blood after a while. I grew up and I was in theater in high school and did musical productions and worked backstage, and it just kind of brings you back to that. Yeah, it's a special time, really, it's a special place, and you just don't get to go and see a movie that really kind of brings you back to that time, and it has a little place of nostalgia in your heart, and this movie very much does that. And it's great from the beginning to the end. It captures you. You have to love singing, though. I didn't know that Lin-Manuel Miranda's had it's like an opera of rap. It's a rap opera. I wasn't ready for that, but it was still compelling, and it kept my attention, and it held my attention throughout the whole movie. What did you kind of think finally of the movie, and what was your like kind of key takeaways from the movie version, seeing how that you'd seen the theatrical version several times as well? My final takeaways from it were it was just complete. It was everything that I sort of wanted out of it. I didn't feel like I was undersold at all. Because sometimes you fall in love with the music and the original and things like that, and in certain adaptations, they might not have the original composer or the original writer on, and it's just something that doesn't have the same spirit, but Lin's there, so you're going to get Lin's creation from it, and then it's supported by amazing visuals. So as a movie, it's definitely an 8 out of 10 for me. Okay. Right. I want to reserve some spots for like things that I think are truly like the great things. But I think as a film, it really rings as a 9.
But that's truly based off. That's largely supported by my personal connection to it. And the way that it's able to bring that out from me. It's an easy 9 though for me. I was up out of my seat, quite literally up. And I feel like I would have been the same way in a theater, and I would have had to hush and be like, sorry. Because it was just that exciting. When I heard the sounds, like the right?
Yeah.
Lights up on Washington. I was already going. I was going before they even came on the screen. It was still showing the credits. I was like, oh, okay. I guess we wait.
Well, for me, now this is a tough one because it's a musical. Musicals aren't for everybody. Either you love them or you kind of hate them. There's not a lot of people that are in between. But as a movie, I was confidently able to give this a 9. If you don't love musicals, it's probably going to be an 8. But if you do, it's a 9 as a movie. It holds you from beginning to end. You don't know how much time has passed. You are just engaged with these characters, the pacing, the music, the dancing, the choreography. It just holds your attention all the way through. You just are compelled to see what happens next. And the characters are so touching, from the abuela to Usnavi to Sunny. They're just all ring so true as real people, not just characters on the screen. You feel like these are real people that you could go to Washington Heights and you're gonna go see these guys out there. That's how well of a job they did as a movie. As a film, this movie, it really, the way that it ends, the way that it all comes together, it's very beautiful. And it's probably gonna mean more to you if you're from New York than it does if you're not. But there's a universal appeal that really is captured, and it's that around the theme of dreams. And everyone has that. Everyone has their dreams. Everyone has something that they're trying to accomplish, bigger and better. That's what makes us Americans, and that's what makes a lot of people New Yorkers at the same time. And it did a good job of capturing that. So as a film, I was able to give it an 8. It definitely, as I get older, like I said, I'm getting a little bit more emotional. The end, little tear just popped out. So, it doesn't go down. If a tear pops out, a tear comes down the street, it gets an 8 minimum. So it was a really touching movie, and you can enjoy it with your whole family. And it's kind of a throwback in the sense of it's current and it feels up to date, but it's also a throwback because it's a musical, and there's not a lot of those that are made very, very often on the big screen. So definitely take your family and enjoy this one. Watch it on HBOmax. If you have the opportunity to see it in theaters, I would see it in a theater too, because it's so much bigger than life. It feels like, you're in the 1950s watching a musical on a big, cinescope screen somewhere. So check it out. Thank you guys, everyone who's watching on YouTube, Facebook, and listening on Spotify and Audible. Please subscribe down in the corner. We'd love to hear your comments and your feedback on this. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Lamont Lovejoy.
And I'm Julian Bass.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.